Welcome back to Zedcraft Season 7, and here we are in our newly opened Summer District. As I continue to work on the fishing game off camera, I thought it would be nice to make a video showing the progress of this area. You see, on Zedcraft we like to create a community district for every season, where players can come along and collaborate together or build their own things, all within the theme of the season. And for this summer district, we also have a more specific theme. And that is because we found a beach area next to a woodland mansion. So the idea here is to convert this entire mansion into a party boat or cruise ship, and then we'll turn the nearby area into a beach resort. So if I fly down here, you can see we have already started working on the ship idea. I have been working on the outside here, and as you can see, it's been a lot of kind of block swapping. We want to kind of keep the shape of the mansion, and we want people to know, this came from a mansion, but still the dark oak, doesn't really work well for the vibe that we want. So I picked some blocks that are a little bit more Zedcrafty. We have this very simple palette here of the 3 different wood types, the pale wood, the birch, and the cherry wood. And what I mainly did here is I figured most cruise ships that I see when I search online are white. Like it's mostly just painted white with some little details here and there. So even though this is, it's Minecraft, it's fantastical, and it's made of wood, whereas I imagine most cruise ships are not made of wood, I still thought it would be good to go for a mostly white theme. So you can see the background walls are all white, and I replaced the blocks that were here with this cherry wood. I like the fact that we have this kind of beam of one block all the way across. I feel like it separates the different segments very well. Gives it all a bit more structure, and the fact I managed to have kind of a little bit of a Willy the Worm theme here with the pattern here is just a nice little addition, I think. We also added some lights in, and these windows were not here before as well. So this is actually the ground floor of the mansion. So we want to have lots of kind of cabins around the outside of the mansion on both floors, and these are rooms that players will be able to come and decorate for themselves. And if we just take a look inside, we will improve this entrance at some point. Ah yes, and we're calling it the Willy on the Seas. Again, a reference to Willy the Worm. So if you look inside here, once you break down a lot of the walls, there is a lot of space in these mansions. They are a big build. And they're actually quite a bit wider than a ship of this size would be, but it's fine, we'll make it work. It does give us a lot of room in the centre for some kind of larger builds. I think we're going to have a restaurant on one of the floors. We're going to have some staircases. So yeah, people have been working on some ideas. Ooh yes, a theatre as well will be interesting. And if I come up to the roof here, we're also thinking of having pools on top of these 2 buildings here. And I think there's talk of having like a museum or art gallery or something to walk through here in this section, which will be a fun addition. But one thing I'm a little bit stuck on at the moment is actually this roof. Of course, we're not going to keep any of the dark oak, so this will all be swapped out for another block. We probably do want to keep it at this height, or maybe 1 block lower, because we're also going to have the inside of here. And I think it makes sense to keep this at the same height. But we have this overhang here, and this is the part that I'm just not sure of. Every picture of a cruise ship that I've looked at has the side of the ship that basically just goes up. I haven't found a single ship that has any kind of roof overhang over the side. So even though it's an extra kind of dimension to the shape, I don't think it works for the build that we're going for. Because I could swap it out for some more pale wood, and it would, be a continuation of this pale wood from down here. But I think it would be better for this wall to look like a very sturdy wall that just goes straight up. So I've got some more pale wood. I'm going to work on a small section of that now, and then we'll see if it has the effect that I'm hoping it does. I'm trying to figure out where the stripped logs go, because we might want to have that continue all the way up from in here as well, because we do have to consider what it looks like from the inside. And right now we have these kind of frames here around the windows, but if we're also going to have the logs continue up here, then maybe we want to just have it go all the way up from the ground. So let's try that out. We'll do it just on this entrance one, and we'll see if we like how it looks from both the inside and the outside. So from the inside, it kind of makes sense. Yeah, I think that works, because it still kind of frames the entrance here, and it would still frame the window here, but we also have that kind of continuation that it does look like one sturdy wall from ground to ceiling. And then from the outside, we may want to continue some of the ornamentation here with the birch, but again, I think that kind of makes sense to me. We might want fences along the top to make it clear that it's the top, and it is going to be a bit plainer than down here because we're not going to have the windows, but I still think that is going to work. So I'm going to do that all for this side. Basically, my goal here is to completely finish one side of it, and then if there's anything that we're not happy with as a group, anything that we think should be changed, we can make those changes on the one side before we start on the other side. I wouldn't want to complete the entire build and then learn that there's aspects of it that don't work. But I will continue working on this. I'll complete all of this across here, and then we'll return and see what it looks like. So now we can see half of this is done, and it is looking a bit plain. One thing that we could do is we could have slabs at the top so that there is like an air gap. People won't fall through it, but it'll be an air gap at the top, and then we can have fences on top of that, and that might give it a bit of intrigue. I'm not too sad about it being plain, because this is one of those projects where the things inside and the things built on top are going to be the points of interest, right? So this doesn't need to be the most interesting thing in the world. Now, I am very glad I set up this tree farming area as well, because some people have been working very hard and this project needs a lot of wood, so that is nice to have. And there we go, we have the full wall in. I haven't changed that cobble out to the stripped wood, but I think I'll do the same as what I've done on that side. It looks good. Like I say, it needs a little bit more, so let's try out those slabs and fences. So I'm on the roof now, and you can see those slabs have added quite a good effect here. Like I say, people, aren't going to fall through the gaps, but it just adds a little bit of structure here. But I'm not sure what to do on top of that, because we could do fences across the whole thing, which wouldn't look too bad. Or we could add in some wood here to break it up a little bit. And that might be better. That might be better. And then the other choice we have, the other choice we have is to do, something that's not even fences. We could do stairs or something like that, or just make that twice as thick. Oh, I quite like that, because it's the same gap at the bottom as there is on the top. and this actually can't be jumped over. It does block the view a little bit more than this does, and this actually allows you to jump up as well. Which there's actually no harm, you know, this is Minecraft. If people fall off the edge, it's not the end of the world. Or do we do both? Do we do both? Let's try both. Now let's see how that looks. It's interesting. I'm now a little bit worried that the gaps make it look like a castle rather than a ship. The problem is I don't know much about ships. I really don't. So, and I think one of the problems is, at least from this perspective, I'm not really seeing through. I'm just seeing the bottom of the slabs, you know, because we're looking up at the ship. So let me try one more thing here, just very quickly. Let me break these bottom slabs. I'll just do it on a few. And then, let's see. So that now allows us to see through it. And it adds a little bit more interest. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some birch to here. Well, maybe... I don't want it to be exactly the same as this pattern here, because we did a different one down here where it was just 3. So you see how that's 3 stairs, 3 stairs, 3 stairs. This is 5 stairs, 5 stairs, 5 stairs, and it actually looks like it connects up. This is also 5 stairs, so I don't want to do 5 stairs again, because like I said, then it will just be like this. We could even do some like arches on top. Do ships have arches? I'm not so sure. It would make it look very not sturdy, I think, if we did something like that, rather than it kind of just being a straight line here. But yeah, we'll do the birch, we'll do that, and then that'll probably be the final change we make. And there we have it. I think this works quite well. I think we've made enough changes at the top here to make it interesting. I do like this top part now. It feels less castle to me and more just like a decoration. And then what I did to make it different to this section here in the birch section is I added the stairs to the same place as the bottom stairs rather than in between. Because we already have this kind of window overhang in between, I figured if we make these little decorative bits more interesting, then that kind of works as an overall shape. And I do really like that. I think we will probably add lanterns to the fences up here, but I don't really know what people are going to be doing up on that top level. So I think for now we'll just leave it as this kind of plain, I say plain, we've made it more interesting, but we'll leave it as it is. And then if, you know, people decide to build certain things that require a higher wall or something like that, we can work on making changes to this wall. Now, one last thing, I do want to show this without shaders. So you can see here, the windows unfortunately look a lot worse because I don't have connected textures without shaders. We may do stained glass windows. What I think I'll probably do is just let people change the windows up in their rooms. You know, if everybody's claiming different rooms here, then they can pick a different window. But I will continue working on this. Mainly, I want to figure out what on earth I'm going to do in this curved section here. I will probably continue the bands here. So the pink and the yellow will come around the edge, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. You know, the main focus is on the side and the top, and this will just be quite a plain front. But we'll leave the summer district now. I want to do something interesting for the Colourlympics. We will be doing 2 Colourlympics events today. The first is our creeper farm that we know very well, but the second is going to use what the creeper farm has been creating for us. I'm going to create 8 stacks of TNT using this gunpowder, and If you look at my armour, you can probably figure out where this is going. Now, I have not mined a single ancient debris all season, and that's not because I don't like to do it, I've just been doing other things. I find that netherite armour is not really a requirement, neither is netherite tools, it's just a nice thing to have. But I think it's about time we got it for ourselves. So the plan is to make 1 stack of TNT for every colour. I will then randomise the order that the colours go in, and then I will go mining in the nether. I will do the tunnel method, and I'll try to keep it fair. I'll try to use the same techniques for each colour, but the reason I'm going to randomise the order is just, if my technique gets better later on, or maybe I get lazier as it goes on, I want it still to be somewhat fair. And then the contest will be simple. The colour who gets me the most ancient debris will be the winner. So let's quickly figure out the order. And that means our last is orange. So orange will be hoping I get better at this as we go along. Pink will be hoping I get lazier as we go along. But this will mostly be a game of luck. Unlike the other Colourlympics games, which are obviously skill-based. But yeah, I will go away. I will spend some time over the next couple of days using all of this TNT, and then we'll look back and we'll see how we got on. A few days have passed now, and it's time to reveal the Colourlympics scores. First, let's take a look at the overall table. Blue is leading the pack, yellow and pink are tied for second, red and green are tied for fourth, and then the remaining colours are quite far behind. So here are the results of the creeper farm. Red takes it with a massive victory. This is their sport. They always seem to do the best in this one, or at least they're always in the top 3. The fan favourite Cyan also did well, and Orange rounded out the top 3. This resulted in quite a few changes to the leaderboard. Blue obviously still comfortably in first place, but Red has jumped up from 4th into 2nd, putting Pink and Yellow into 3rd position. Cyan has also climbed off the very bottom and is now tied for 7th with Purple. And now let's move on to the second event, the Ancient Debris Mining. Now this is the very first time that we've done this, and probably the last time as well, but if we look in this shulker here, we can see the results. A lot of ancient debris has been mined, probably more than I'll need for the season, so I wouldn't expect to see this event again. And as we can see, Cyan are by far the leaders with 26 ancient debris from just a stack of TNT, which is ridiculous. You can kind of see here the pattern where it seemed to be higher in the middle, but like I said before, I think it's mostly just luck. Sorry Cyan, mostly skill. Yes, mostly skill. And then we ended up with a tie for second place. Unfortunately, Yellow just missed out, 1 ancient debris behind, but Red, who have also had a fantastic day today, and Green both got 14 ancient debris. So they will both share silver place. And if we take a look at the overall scores, that doesn't actually change much. It puts Cyan and Green in a more comfortable position, but essentially that just means that Orange and Purple move down. So overall for today, Purple have unfortunately fallen into last place, and Blue is still in the lead, but now only by 1 point. Cyan and Red both gained 6 points today, which is very impressive. Now let's return to the Summer District and see the progress there. As you can see, a lot more progress has been made to this ship since I recorded the first part. I really just knuckled down and wanted to get all of the exteriors done. Now, is it completely done? There's some cobble areas, especially on the other side of the ship, that people can't see from here, where we need to mine a lot of the cobble and make the bottom look a bit more like a ship. And if you look at this angle here, I feel like this needs to taper a lot more back here for this part to make sense. But those are minor details, really not my priority. My priority was getting the main structure here finished. But before we look around the ship, let's have a look around here, because we have some cool things that a few people have been working on. We've got a nice little bridge here. This island, I believe, was entirely grass, and it's now been made into sand. We're really getting the tropical vibes here, which is lovely to see. We also have, hold on, let me do my primitive zoom. We also have Etho the Siren, who has managed to lure a fish to him. And I think that's Mumbo surfing over there. Although, considering we have a kraken rising out from the ground, I'm not sure he wants to be surfing so close to the coast. We also have a little sunbathing guy who, again, doesn't seem to realise the danger that's behind him. But maybe this is a friendly guy over here. And, yes, you are safe, don't worry. We've got lots of these little crabs around, which is always nice to see, just little details like that that bring a little bit of life. And yeah, this is going to be one spooky build. I like that it's quite a twist on the tropical theme though. Now, over the next month or so, we will see lots more things popping up around here and lots more going on inside the ship. But first, let's have a fly around. So you can see we've changed out the floors here. This used to be the roof, the dark oak roof, but we figured we would use birch for the floors, and I think it looks really good. It obviously matches what we've done on the side, but it also looks, I would say it looks like what a cruise ship floor would look like. You know, it's basically just made of wood. And then if we come down here, we had the idea of opening this window a little bit so it's more of like a viewing section from the inside. And obviously we'll have something scenic outside here. There was also talks of, I'm going to need that block back. There were also talks of having like an aquarium under here, which I think could be fun. It's basically just an empty space at the moment that we're not using. So there's potential for something there. But now let's fly to the entrance and I can walk you through what we've done for some of the interiors. So to start with, we have this very friendly looking receptionist in the reception area. We've got the map there, which I will continue updating as things get built. Hello. We did have an invasion of a few pillagers, so we pacified them, and now they can just sit here and chill out and be part of the decoration. So this is going to be the main floor that has quite a few different structures in it. I think this is going to be a staircase up, this is going to be a staircase down, we're going to have a bar area over here, this is going to be a restaurant, and over here you can see we already have a coffee shop that has appeared. So one of the kind of inspirations for this area is a food court like you might see in a mall. So it's going to be quite open plan. You're going to see lots of different things. You're basically going to be able to see everything from any point. You know, there's a bit of a wall here and there's some pillars, but it's mostly open. You can grab a coffee, you can grab some food from here, you can grab a drink from the bar, and there'll be lots of seating all around. And we did actually work on some seating over here as well, so I tried to get some nice little fancy dining tables here that will be in front of the nice scenic view. I still haven't filled the windows in with glass, but you know, those details can wait. And here is the coffee shop that Jamie has been working on, and it's got that kind of rustic hipster vibe, and it's very cozy. It's nice to kind of feel like you're going inside somewhere in this room, even though it's all very open plan. And of course, we have Chad over here serving the drinks. And then if we come down here, we already have a couple of cabins that are being filled out by some players, and we have the start of a bingo hall. here. Now, I don't fully know the vision of this area, but somebody's been working on some redstone underneath here. And then if we come up these stairs, we will go into the art gallery room, which we mentioned earlier. And if we come outside, this is still an empty space. Again, we've replaced the floor with birch, so it's a lot brighter and a lot friendlier. We also have the top of this building here, and we're going to have some kind of pools and outdoor decorations and maybe roller coasters and fun party things up here. So this is going to be the most fun area, I think, up here and up at the top there. So it's turning into a very fun project. I hope you have enjoyed what you've seen so far, and in the next episode I'll give you another update on how the build is progressing. But for now, it's about time we head over to the Connections game. If this is your first episode of mine that you've seen, after every episode of this Let's Play, I do a Connections game, which is just like the New York Times Connections game, but Minecraft themed. But before we go into the Connections game, I'd like to quickly mention the fact that I now have a Discord server. So if you'd like to come along to share some builds you've made in Minecraft, talk about modded Minecraft, the create mod, that sort of thing, and in particular, I have started asking questions and getting feedback on a mod pack that I'm making. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, there will be a link in the description. And here is the puzzle from last time. And because of when I released the episode, this actually ended up being an April Fool's themed puzzle. So there are some tricks, there are some dodgy things within this puzzle. To begin, we have rabbit's leather, bamboo log, bucket of squid, and purple tiles, and these are all items that don't exist. Either they have a different name, or they simply don't exist at all. Now next up we have these 5 to choose from. So these are all different horse colours, but I know that this one is an answer to a different part of the puzzle, so here are the 4 for the green puzzle. Next up we have soul sand, trapdoor, popped chorus fruit and bedrock. And these are all things with music genres in the name: rock, pop, soul, and trap. And finally, we have flint and steel, buckskin, impaling, and lightning rod. This might be the worst category that I've ever done. And it is things that would make a good band name. And here we are, puzzle 13. This is the puzzle for this episode, which you'll be able to find in the description. And the clues for this one are air, beetroot, leggings, coal, Minecraft earth, emerald, wither rose, diamond, rabbit's foot, lapis lazuli, redstone, bucket of water, armadillo, fire coral, sea pickle, and brain coral. And that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any feedback on the ship, I'd love to know. And hopefully in the next episode I will have a fishing game to show you. But I've been saying that for a while now, so I'm not going to promise anything. But yeah, thanks for watching and take care.